Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I'd really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you like this watch, you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Buy, trade, and sell luxury watches on thewatchbox.com. And as luxury watches go, few are more spectacular than the Bethune DB28 Digitale, a 2014 evolution of the GPHG Alligator winning DB28. This one cops the look of an 18th century French clock with wandering minutes, a jump hour, and a moon phase at center comprised of two halves, all graced by blued titanium with white gold stars acting as a simulated cosmos. In grade 5 titanium, you can see this is a large watch but feather light, 45 millimeters across the round of the case, not including the outriggers for the floating lugs. The timepiece is relatively slim as these sort of things go. Only 13.1 millimeters thick. You should be able to fit it underneath a jacket cuff. The floating lugs are exactly that. They have variable geometry, so when you pull them absolutely tight, they can be as close as 53 millimeters across or as far apart as about 57.9, so let's call it 58. The spacing, if you wish to customize with the strap, is an enormous 26, one of the largest and broadest straps I've ever encountered. The straps are wonderfully slim, however, medium rectangular scale alligator leather, semi-gloss, navy blue with a lightly contrasting cobalt blue stitch. You can see folded side, gator on the bottom, small circular scale, a different kind of gator, but gator on both sides for durability and luxury. The pin buckle itself is titanium, and it's even graced by some forms reminiscent of the watch and its lugs themselves, so no default design with Bethune. You can see, and we'll get as close as we can here, that the crown is a rather gnarly component, distinctive, anything but a default design. You'll note it has a series of raised knurled edges that make it an absolute pleasure to grip. Now I should mention that the crown does screw down into place. When you thread it out, the watch can be wound and set manually, and I know you're dying to find out what the jump hour action looks like, and I'm all too happy to oblige. As you can see, it is very crisp and incredibly precise. Now you will look down on a dial that is principally what's known as a grand doge or barleycorn sort of guilloche cut with a radiating, almost undulating spiral interlock. You can see that it has at center a moon phase comprised of two different sides. One is blue steel and the other is palladium. The moon phase will rotate. It's a bit of a signature in that it is a 360-degree ball, and you can see that to good advantage from an angle. Bethune loves to use this design, and I love to share it. It has an accuracy, for those of you who are sticklers for such things, out to 1,112 years. That is the adjustment interval when you'll have to go in and adjust your moon phase. You'll note that the case is relatively simple. It has a bit of a canister aesthetic with a bezel that has a small outcropping over the center. You will note that it is all of high polish in grade 5 titanium, therefore very, very, very robust. This stuff is actually a little bit harder than conventional 316 steel, so scratch resistance is a strength on this one. You'll also note that the dial is no nonsense. You have the scrolling minutes, the moon phase, the hour, all aligned and perfectly split bilaterally from 12 to 6. There's a beautiful symmetry about this dial from side to side, even if the display is a little bit top heavy. You'll also note that the outriggers themselves are modular and can be replaced. There's a broad stance and a short stance set of lugs, and depending on your personal preference and wrist geometry, you can actually have it reconfigured when it goes back to Bethune. Inside, only the best, and I need to emphasize that we are talking the best. This is the Bethune manufacturer caliber DB2144. Manual wind, twin barrels. You can see when you wind through the crown, it's almost like an old Lapine pocket watch or a bullhead. The 5-day power reserve is fully energized. The finish is exquisite, and you can see when I turn it flush to the camera, the edge of every bridge, and I mean every edge, is beautifully rounded with a mirrored anglage. The Côte de Genève are the real deal, perfectly aligned across bridges and base plate, and run down with a textured wheel rather than stamped. You'll also note that there's a great deal of original architecture with the enormous delta, or vaguely Star Trek inspired bridge for the barrels themselves, and the power feeds to a balance that is all of Bethune's own design. Let's see how close we can get. The balance features a silicon thermally resistant inner ring. It is a disc inboard, and then outboard you can see that there is a collar of white gold. So it's thermally resistant and also has a maximal polar moment with all of the mass concentrated outboard. You'll note the bridge is both heat blued, mirror polished, and I'll add a third virtue, triple sprung. There is a triple parachute system with proprietary springs outboard anchoring both sides of the bridge for immense shock resistance. This is the kind of thing of which Richard Mille only dreams. You'll even note that the hairspring itself is de Bethune's own. It has a unique geometry such that with a flat profile, it nevertheless achieves the concentric beating in any orientation with respect to gravity that you expect of an overcoil, and that is the magic of de Bethune. Denis Flageolet, lead watchmaker and engineer at de Bethune, does things his own way, and for a company that these days is making about 150 watches a year, the degree of manufacturer provenance, not just the fact that they design it and build the movement themselves, but even down to the design and creation of the parts within the movement, that is all done in-house. Once more, manual wind 5-day power reserve. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It's 30 meters water resistant, so you're probably not going to want to take this one swimming. But make no mistake, despite being an exotic and a thoroughbred exotic at that, this is a watch designed to be worn every single day. A few more details that I'd like to call out. There is actually a silicone escape wheel inside the movement, again, also of de Bethune's own creation and design. And on the dial side, I mentioned this in passing earlier, but everything that looks blue is blued titanium with the exception of the blued steel of the 360-degree moonphase. All of the stars are hand-polished and hand-placed white gold. You also note a matching white gold index at 12 o'clock. This is a rich journey. You buy this watch and you notice something new about it every day that it's on the wrist. Live the dream, soar to the stars, reach for them, and grab them on the watch box.